Hey guys, tonight we begin with the splintered wood walls, rope-bitten cargo sacks, and sour hay bedding of a 19th century American freight boxcar. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments what time it is for you and where you're tuning in from. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wake before the train stops, not to the sunrise, there isn't one yet, but to the shift in pressure, the screech of slowed steel, the way the boxcar rocks just slightly less. You're not startled. You've learned not to be. Sudden movements lead to bumped heads or stepped on hands in the dark. You stay curled for a moment. Straw scratches your neck. The rope from a grain sack presses into your spine. Something beneath you creaks, not the car. Something alive. Probably a man. Probably sleeping. Hopefully. You sit up slow, your shoulders brushing against the thin wool coat you keep folded beneath your knees at night. It's damp again. Everything's damp. Even the wood walls sweat when the night drags too long. A sliver of blue light cuts through a knothole above the axle bolts. You blink into it. Your eyes sting. It's not quite morning. Just that hour when the dark turns gray and your breath begins to show in the air like smoke from a bad stove. You rub your hands together. They crack. Not loudly, but enough to remind you the joints still work. Yesterday they bled. A splinter from the loading dock at the last mill town. No time to pull it. You tied it off and pressed your hand under your belt until the bleeding slowed. It didn't stop. You reach into your satchel. It's barely more than canvas tied with twine. Inside, a heel of bread that's gone tacky at the edges, one brass button from a coat you don't own, and a shred of old newspaper with the date worn away. You read the same paragraph every night, a story about a shipment of tools bound for Atlanta. You imagine them, spades, mattocks, steel teeth for sawmills, clean, sharp, untouched, not like yours. A man coughs, a deep one, from the back of the car. You don't turn. You've seen him. Wiry leather hat, one boot missing. He's older, maybe 30. Hard to tell in the dark. He never speaks, only coughs, always in twos. Another body shifts near the door. That boy from the cattle yard, the one with no pack. His shoes are stuffed with corn husk. You saw him do it. Said it keeps the wind out. You weren't sure if he meant the shoes or his head. Your feet are bare, wrapped in wool scraps and tied with cord. They itch. They always itch. The floor beneath you is slick with last week's leak. Someone said it was molasses, but the smell says otherwise. More like rot. Grain, maybe. Or waste. The train stutters again. You brace, hand flat on the crate beside you. Splinters bite your palm. You don't flinch. Outside, there's a whistle. One long, one short. Not a town yet. Just a signal. Probably another siding, another place to wait. You exhale through your teeth, low and steady. No use hoping. The next stop might be 2 hours or 12. You huddle tighter, forehead against the knot of your knees, and listen to the groan of steel that never truly stops. The air tastes like cold wood and old rope. You close your eyes, just until it shifts again. The train groans before you even rise. Iron wheels grind against iron rails, a metal scream swallowed by the wooden ribs of the boxcar. You don't open your eyes. Not yet. Not while your breath still fogs the air in front of your face. Not while the burlap sack beneath your head stinks of wheat rot and rat droppings. Your neck aches. You shifted in the night, or maybe the boards did. Or maybe nothing moved at all and it's just the way your bones lie now. Misaligned, resigned. There's a draft. Always. It comes through a crack above the sliding door, whistles down like a blade across your nose, then dances away into the dark. You shiver. Not a dramatic shudder, just the quiet jerk of a body remembering it's still alive and must therefore endure. Someone coughs near the back of the car, deep, wet, a cough that's lived in the lungs for seasons. You think it's the man with the broken hat, the one whose boot sole flaps when he walks. He never speaks, just clears his throat and stares like he's listening to things no one else can hear. You once caught his eye, just for a second. It was enough. He looked through you, like your skin was glass. Since then, you keep your gaze low. Safer that way. You shift upright carefully. Your coat sticks to your arm. Wet again, not from rain. The night sweated on everything. The grain sacks are slick with moisture, the ropes dark with soaked grease. You smell everything at once. The mildew, the old sawdust, the faint copper tang of dried blood. Maybe yours, maybe someone else's. Doesn't matter. The boxcar has absorbed it all. Smells like sweat and hunger and men too tired to leave even when the doors open. Your stomach growls, but you ignore it. There's nothing left, not a crumb. You check anyway, fingers rooting through the sack like they might surprise you, like maybe the bread crust grew back overnight. It didn't. Just the button, just the paper, just the ache. Outside, the world is shifting again. The train is slowing. Not much, just enough that the wheels take longer to scream, that the sway feels like a breath held too long. You hear gravel beneath the rails, the sound of hard earth bracing against weight. Could be a switch track, could be a stop. You don't move, not yet. First, let the others stir. Let someone else risk being seen. The boy near the door stirs. You hear his husk shoes drag against the boards. He's young, younger than you probably. Still curls into himself like sleep can hide him. He mumbles when he dreams. Sometimes names. Once a dog's name, you think. You never asked. You never speak unless you need to. Boxcars don't reward questions. You stretch out your legs, slow, deliberate. Your knees crack. Your toes are numb, but not from cold, just from being wrapped too long. You peel back the wool strips, let them hang. Your feet are pale, swollen at the joints. You flex them until the pins and needles start. It burns. You welcome it. Pain means there's still blood, still nerves, still something that hasn't quit yet. The train jerks once, a hard pull. The whistle blasts again, closer this time. 2 short bursts, a warning. You rise, lean against the crate wall, and peek through the side slats. Trees, fences, a water tower in the distance. Could be a town, could be a mill, could be nothing. Doesn't matter. You're not jumping here. Too soon. No sign of food, no sign of work. No point in leaving one hard place for another if the hunger just follows. You sit back down, tuck your feet beneath you, and listen as the train steadies again. No one talks. No one moves. The boxcar breathes in silence. The wheels sing the old song. You close your eyes, press your palm flat against the floor, and wait for the rhythm to return. It always does. The rhythm returns like a lullaby made of iron and regret. The train finds its pace again, steady now, less groan and more grunt, as if it's resigned to another long stretch of nowhere. You sit still, listening, counting each clack of the track beneath you, each breath that doesn't come from your own chest. The boy near the door mutters again, this time louder. You can't make out the words, but there's a lilt to them. A memory, maybe. Something from before the trains, before the roads ran out and hunger started following too close. He turns in his sleep, elbow thudding against the wood. A soft yelp escapes him. Then, silence. You pull your coat tighter, fingers trembling slightly from cold or fatigue or just the motion of sitting too long. The seam along the right sleeve split last week. It flaps when the wind hits right, like it wants to escape your body the way you sometimes dream of escaping this car. The dreams always end the same. Feet sinking into mud, the sound of dogs, the slam of boots behind you. Waking is never worse than the dream. It's just the same, but colder. The sun hasn't broken yet. Just a pale strip of light leaking through the top slats, casting long, thin bars across the opposite wall. You watch the dust in the beam. Tiny flecks of straw, old flour, skin maybe, bits of the men who rode before you. You imagine them, lean, quiet shapes with bent hats and hollow faces, curling in the corners of this same car. Names you'll never know. Destinations they never reached. Some of them probably died here. You wonder if the floor remembers. Your legs ache. You shift again, slowly, carefully, dragging your satchel beneath your knees and using it as a cushion. The rope tie bites your calf. You ignore it. Your body is used to pressure now, from knots, from cold, from the slow weight of days that bleed into each other like ink into damp parchment. You've lost track of how long it's been. Since St. Louis? Since the last station that had water? You can't remember. Doesn't matter. A sound behind you. Scrape of cloth, breath sucked between teeth. You glance over your shoulder, just enough to see the old man by the wall sitting upright now, cradling his ribs with one hand, the other gripping a rusted pipe like a walking stick. He's watching the crack in the door, eyes sharp, unmoving. His beard is thin, patchy, the color of old dust. He doesn't speak, just nods once when he sees you looking, then turns back to the light. You respect that. Words waste warmth. You've learned more from silence than you ever did from speech. The boxcar has a language of its own. Wood groans, breath rhythms, the slap of rope against crate, the rustle of worn cloth. You listen to it all. You learn who's stirring, who's still, who's watching. It keeps you safe, mostly. The smell of oil creeps in. Not strong, but enough. The axle's heating again. It does that sometimes when the grade shifts. You know the signs. If it gets worse, the train'll stop. Another delay, another risk of being spotted. You shift toward the door slats and press your cheek against the gap. The wind bites. Not sharp, but steady. Fields outside. Low fences. A burned barn in the distance. Nothing to steal. Nothing to eat. Just space. And cold. You slide back down, pull the coat over your knees, and settle into the corner where the wall meets the crate. Someone hums. Just one note, low and slow, barely a breath. Then it's gone. You let your head fall sideways, rest it against the wood. You count again. Not numbers, just moments. Just the sound of the track, the metal lullaby, the space between hunger and sleep. The nothing in between. The nothing stretches. It always does. You sit in it like water, not drowning, just soaked through. The boxcar rocks slightly, not enough to jolt, just enough to remind you that you're moving, that the earth underneath is passing whether you want it to or not. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but to narrow the world. Sight takes effort. Sound doesn't. And there's plenty of that. A shift of heel against floorboard, a soft groan from a stiff back, the flap of cloth against skin where someone adjusts their coat or shirt or makeshift blanket. These are the sounds of waiting. No one talks. Not anymore. That was for the first night, maybe the second. Now it's just listening, enduring. The air smells faintly of grease. Not from the axle this time. It's the crates. One of them is leaking. You smelled it yesterday too. Some kind of machinery oil. Not flammable, but heavy. It settles in your lungs like cold smoke, coats your throat until water would be useful, if you had any. But the last tin cup passed around 2 nights ago, and the man who had it hasn't moved in hours. He might be asleep, or not. Your hands itch. You scratch the base of your palm against a rope coil until the skin peels slightly, dry and flaking. You used to get sores between the fingers, back when you worked a line crew for the telegraph company. That feels like another life, another boy. He had cleaner clothes, thinner arms. He used to whistle when he walked between poles just to hear the birds echo back. You don't whistle now. You don't want to call anything toward you anymore. Not sound, not memory. The light sharpens through the slats, not brighter, just more definite. A line across your leg, another across the old man's boots. You wonder if he feels it. The sun crawling toward him inch by inch like a cat afraid to wake the room. He hasn't moved since he sat up. His eyes are half closed, not sleeping, not really, just remembering probably. Everyone in this car is holding something they never say out loud. You've seen it. A hand that clenches when nothing's near. A man who mutters in German and then shakes like a dog coming out of water. A boy who mouths the same word over and over again without sound. You hold nothing, or you pretend to. It's safer that way. Your stomach folds again, tighter this time. Hunger with edges. You shift, stretch your legs a little, and reach back into the satchel. Just the paper. Just the button. You turn the button between your fingers. It's brass, flattened a little at the rim. Stamped with the outline of a bird. Eagle, maybe, or pigeon. Hard to say. It came from the coat you lost outside Nashville, when the men ran and you didn't. You kept the button. A souvenir, or an anchor. Outside, the land starts to rise. You feel it in your knees before you see it. The incline's slight, but the boxcar strains. A deeper growl in the floor. The man at the door, the one with the husk shoes, pulls his knees tighter to his chest. He feels it too. The train is climbing, which means hills, which means cold. You tug your coat tighter. Useless gesture, but rituals matter. The old man coughs once, dry, controlled. Then stillness again. The light shifts. Full morning now. No warmth, but clarity. The boxcar is a cage of gold lines and shadows. Everything sharp. Every flaw in the wood. Every stain on the floor. Every crack in your skin. All of it visible. You look away. Rest your forehead on your arm. Breathe slow. Wait. There's nothing else to do. Nothing but ride. And listen. And not fall apart before the next stop. Whenever that is, if it comes. The climb doesn't stop. The train strains harder now, wheels squealing more often, gaps between track clicks stretched just enough to feel wrong. You brace your foot against a crate, not to rise, just to keep yourself steady. The incline isn't steep, but it doesn't have to be. It's enough to change everything. The weight of your body, the angle of your spine, the way your breath settles lower in your chest like it's being pressed there. You shift slightly and feel the bruises from yesterday, or the day before. A knee slammed into the crate wall when the train lurched. You didn't cry out. There was no point. Pain, in here, is private property. The old man's pipe thumps once against the floor. Not loud. Just enough to mark that he's awake, that he still has enough strength to assert space. You respect that. Space matters more than food now, more than warmth. Each man has his corner, his slat of shadow, his 2 feet of floorboard that no one dares touch unless they want blood on their knuckles or worse. No one speaks the rules, but they're carved deep in every glance. You lean back again, careful not to cross a line that isn't yours. The boy with the husk shoes is crying now. Not loud, just leaking, eyes wet, shoulders still. He's good at it. Maybe he's had practice. You wonder who he lost, or what. Maybe just the belief that someone's still waiting for him at the end of this line. That's what breaks a man. Not the hunger, not the cold. It's the moment he realizes no one's on the other side of the road anymore. No porch light, no soup pot, no arms to fall into when his legs give out. Just more road. You reach for your satchel, not because you expect something to appear, but because the ritual helps. Fingers wrap around the button. You press it to your palm. The metal is cold. It always is. You hold it until it warms, until it starts to feel like part of you. You used to polish it with your sleeve. Not anymore. Dirt doesn't come off easy when the grime's inside. Through the slats, trees flash past. Pine, mostly. Dark needles, thin trunks, all rising uphill like they know something you don't. You watch them for a while. They don't comfort you, but they distract you, which is close enough. One leans at an odd angle, roots half pulled from the slope. You wonder how long until it gives up and falls. Probably soon. Things don't last long when they lose their footing. The train stutters, not stops, just trembles. You feel it in your ribs, that hiccup in the rhythm. A low whistle follows. 3 notes. Not a town signal, not a station, just a warning to someone. Maybe an animal on the tracks, maybe nothing. The boy flinches. The old man doesn't move. You lean your head back and let the sound settle into your chest. You like that whistle. Not because it means anything, but because it breaks the silence that sometimes grows too thick to breathe. A voice grumbles from the far corner. Not words, just throat and gravel. The man who sleeps with his boots off. He's waking. He always talks before he eats, and he never eats. That's how you know it's a new day. Not the sun, not the sound. Just him, cursing into his coat like the past still owes him something. You almost smile. Almost. Your hands are shaking again. You hide them under your knees. Not from cold, from the tremor that comes when you haven't eaten in too long. You breathe slow. The trick is to pretend the emptiness is air, that every breath fills your belly, stretches your gut like bread. Sometimes it works. Today, it doesn't. You close your eyes, just to rest, just for a moment. The crate creaks behind you. The train keeps climbing. The hunger hums steady now like it's found a place to nest. You don't fight it. You just listen, and wait, and drift. You wake to the sound of chains clinking. Not loud, not urgent, just a slow metal drag across the wooden floor. You don't open your eyes at first. There's no light shift, no sudden cold. Just the familiar ache in your neck and the stale weight in your gut. The train is still moving, still climbing or maybe rolling flat again. Hard to tell. You lift your head just enough to glance down the car. It's the man with no boots. He's pulled his coat tighter, dragging his satchel along with one hand while the other scrapes a length of chain behind him. A makeshift belt or maybe something worse. You don't ask. No one ever does. He mutters to himself, barely audible. Names, numbers, curses, maybe prayers. His skin is cracked around the knuckles and the way he moves suggests he's older than you guessed. Everyone is older than you guessed. The boxcar ages people in weeks, not years. You watch him shuffle to the far corner, wedge himself behind 2 barrels, and go still, like a dog picking a spot to lie down for the last time. Your back itches from the crate's edge. You shift to your other side, careful not to bump the boy near the door. He's asleep again, or pretending. His hands are tucked under his chin, fingers dirty and raw, nails bitten to the quick. A thread of snot shines beneath one nostril. You turn away. There's nothing you can give him anyway. The light in the car has changed. Sharper now. Blue-white. Morning proper. You feel it on your knees where the coat slips up. The cold presses in with it, not biting but slow, persistent, like water leaking through canvas. You pull your feet in tighter. The wool strips around your ankles are fraying. You'll need to retie them soon, maybe with one of the strings from your sack. But not yet. Not now. From the outside comes the screech of brakes. Sudden, violent. The boxcar jerks forward and you slam your palm against the floor to brace. Wood bites into your skin, but you don't cry out. You grit your teeth and ride the motion until it stops. Dust swirls up. Someone behind you coughs, hard this time, like their lungs are trying to leave. A shuffle, then silence again. You listen. Always listen. The brakes scream again, this time longer. A whistle. One short burst, then two long. A signal you don't recognize. The train slows more. You rise to one knee, press your face to the gap in the slats. Trees again, but closer now. Denser. Smoke in the distance, black and thick. A yard, maybe. Or a campfire gone wrong. Could be industry. Could be trouble. Could be both. You turn to the others. No one else moves. The boy pretends sleep. The old man hasn't stirred. The bootless mutterer is half buried behind the barrels. You weigh your chances. You count the ache in your legs. You measure the hunger in your throat like a pocket of emptiness that might collapse if you move too quickly. Still, you inch forward, toward the door. You don't plan to jump. Not yet. Just to see. Just to breathe something that isn't sweat and sawdust and breath gone sour. The slats are narrow. Your eye fits just enough to catch a flash of iron siding and a row of weather-worn posts. A stop is coming. Not a town. A siding. Maybe a water fill. Maybe coal. You sit back again, heart slow but awake now. Awake in the worst way. Alert. Hope creeps in. Thin, brittle, unwelcome. You press your palm to the floor again. It's warmer, slightly. Maybe the sun, maybe your skin. Doesn't matter. The train lurches one final time, metal groaning like a beast settling into mud. Then silence. Full, wide silence. The kind that wraps around you like fog. You wait. You do not stand. You wait. Because boxcars only give to those who don't flinch first. The silence stretches, heavy and long, like the whole train is holding its breath. You don't move. No one does. That's how you know it's real. Even the boy has stopped pretending to sleep. You see it in the way his shoulder stiffens, in the way his breathing hitches when the final squeal of the brakes fades. The old man's eyes are half open again, slits of clouded blue catching what little light filters through the cracks. He's not looking at anything, not even you. Just listening, like everyone else. Outside, nothing. No footsteps, no voices, no dogs barking, no coal clattering, no echo of orders shouted in the rail yard. Just the low tick of the cooling axle, the faint sigh of wind slicing through the boards. You stay low, your knees drawn up, arms wrapped tight around your chest. If you had food, this is when you'd eat it. If you had anything soft, you'd bury your face in it now and pretend you weren't hoping for the door to open. Then a sound. Not near, not yet, but real. A chain clinks, boots scrape gravel. You freeze. Not from fear exactly, from memory. You know what follows chain and gravel. Inspectors, yardmen, railroad bulls with sticks and steel and no time for strays like you. You lower your head, angle your face toward your knees. If they slide the door, they'll see less that way. Less face, less threat. You make yourself small. You become the crate, the rope, the nothing. A shadow moves across the light slit. Quick, then gone. You hear metal ring against metal. A car coupling, not yours. Further up the line, maybe a crew car, maybe freight. You count the seconds. 1, 2, 3. A bird calls once outside. Sharp, panicked. Then nothing again. Still, no voices, no commands. Just work sounds. Mechanical, indifferent. That's a good sign. Yard crew, not guards. They won't open the boxcar unless they have a reason. You exhale slow through your nose into the wool folds of your coat. The breath comes back warm. Barely. The boy stirs again. His hand brushes the floor, searching. For something, for nothing. You don't speak to him, not yet. He hasn't earned that. Not because you're cruel, but because words are dangerous. If he answers wrong, if he tells you something you can't unhear, that's yours to carry. You have enough already. The old man shifts. His pipe rolls across the floor toward you. You stop it with your foot, then nudge it gently back in his direction. He doesn't thank you. That's how you know he saw. That's enough. The train jerks once, not forward, back. A small adjustment, a rattle of couplings, a groan. Then stillness again. You listen harder. No footsteps, no call-outs. Maybe it's a delay. Maybe the yard boss hasn't sent the signal yet. You wait. Always wait. The minutes pass differently in a boxcar. They stretch thin, like dough without yeast. You could be here an hour, or 5. The sun has moved slightly. The line of light now crosses the boy's chest instead of his feet. Your own shadow shrinks back against the barrel beside you. You close your eyes, but not to sleep. Your ears stay open. That's all you can afford. Rest without letting go, like prey in tall grass. The danger isn't the lion. It's the moment you forget it might be watching. A low clang rings from somewhere beyond, a gate shutting. Then a distant engine cough. Steam. You know that sound. That's the switcher car. That means you'll be moving again soon. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe less. You lean your head against the crate behind you, cold pressing through the grain. The train is waiting, and so are you. Not for escape, not for safety, just for movement. The cruelest part of stillness is how loud your own thoughts get. You'd rather the sound of wheels again. At least that song doesn't ask questions. The wheels don't scream when they start again. They groan, slow and low, like an old man rising from a long sleep. You feel it first in your heels, pressed flat to the floor, a vibration that hums up your legs and into your spine before the first true jolt arrives. The boy near the door lets out a sharp breath. The old man doesn't move. The bootless one behind the barrels mutters just once, a syllable with no meaning. The whole car shifts together, like an animal stretching its ribs. Then it rolls. You don't lift your head. You wait. You've learned this. Trains lie. Sometimes they jolt forward just to lull you. Sometimes they crawl a mile and stop again for hours. But this time, the rhythm holds. The metal chant returns beneath you, steady and deliberate. You allow yourself one slow breath, then another. No danger. Not yet. Outside, the morning sharpens. Light filters through the slats, stronger now, slicing across your cheek, your knees, the top of your satchel. You shift slightly, dragging it closer. Nothing new inside. Same button, same slip of newspaper, same nothing else. But still, the weight of it matters. Something to hold, something to press your palm against while the world rolls by unseen. You reach down and check the strips around your feet. The wool is damp again, Not soaked, just heavy with the sweat of skin and time. You untie the cord, gently, easing it loose before rewrapping tighter. Circulation matters. Lose that and you lose toes. You've seen it happen. Not here, not in this car. Somewhere colder, further north, before the line turned toward Georgia. That man had boots, still lost 2 toes, turned black in the night and crumbled by dawn. You don't let that happen. Not yet. The boy stirs beside you, not waking, just shifting in the rhythm. His face is hollow in the new light. Bruises, old and yellowing, smudged beneath his cheekbones. His hands curl against his chest, one wrapped in what might have once been a sleeve torn from another shirt. He looks smaller than yesterday, not younger, just reduced. That's what the train does. Wears people down the way a stone wears underwater. Not broken, just less. You lean your head against the crate behind you. The grain rubs against your scalp, catching slightly on the stubble growing too long behind your ears. You should shave, but there's nothing sharp left in your things, not even a pin. The last blade rusted weeks ago. You snapped it tossing coal from a siding, trying to wedge it free from the grate. Foolish. Now you look like someone you don't recognize in reflections you don't trust. Outside, trees blur. The sun is higher now. The warmth doesn't come through, but the light does. It makes shadows clearer. You see the outline of the old man's pipe again, lying against his leg. He hasn't smoked it once since you boarded. Probably no tobacco, or maybe he's just forgotten the comfort of it. Happens. Some comforts vanish when you wait too long to reach for them. You count the poles outside, telegraph lines, one every few seconds. A game you used to play, how many between towns? You stop at 12, no town appears. Just fences and grass and dirt roads worn thin with wagon ruts. You don't care where it's going anymore, only that it's moving. The floor beneath you creaks, just slightly, as the car shifts on a turn. You brace your hand against the crate again, the wood warm now from your shoulder. Your fingers twitch. Reflex, not fear. The kind of twitch that comes from waiting too long for something that never quite arrives. The rhythm holds. Still no voices. Still no signs. Just the low thunder of a train too proud to stop again before night. You press your cheek against your knee, eyes half closed, and let the wheels sing. It's not peace, but it's something close. The boxcar creaks again, not from the track, but from inside. A board loosening, maybe, or one of the barrels shifting slightly as the angle of the train bends into a slow curve. You open your eyes. Light cuts through more clearly now, casting long, sharp stripes across the floor. You count them without meaning to. 7, 8, 9. The beams reach from one wall to the other, slicing through dust, through limbs, through crates and bones and breath. You sit inside one of them, your knees caught in the bright while your chest stays shadowed. You don't move. Let the light land where it wants. The boy beside you hasn't woken yet. His jaw works slightly, like he's chewing something in his sleep, or maybe swallowing pain. His feet twitch under the ragged blanket he found back in that rail yard outside Evansville. You remember watching him trade his gloves for it. Bad trade. The blanket is too thin to warm, too thick to breathe. But he wanted it. Said he hated the way cold bit into his back at night. You didn't argue. It wasn't your trade. Wasn't your cold. Your own coat slips off your shoulder again. You pull it up, slow, careful not to jostle the crate at your back. The wood's still warm, just slightly. Your shoulders pressed a shallow dent into the edge. You stare at it. Small comfort, to leave a mark that no one will notice. You trace it with your thumb, then stop. that's not your business either. A low murmur rises from the far end of the car. One of the others, maybe the man behind the barrels, is dreaming out loud. Words blur together. Not English, maybe Polish, maybe nonsense. You don't recognize it. You recognize the sound, though, the pleading edge, the tone of someone trying to make a promise with no one listening. You've made that sound before. Once. Back when you still thought someone might answer. The train clatters louder for a moment. You hear the rhythm shift, gravel under the wheels, the sound of another set of rails nearby, a parallel track. That means a junction, a merge, maybe a split. You don't move toward the slats. Doesn't matter what direction you're going. Only matters that you're not stopping yet. The worst thing is when the train slows down and never starts again. You've lived that. Hours of stillness with no food, no water, nothing but the itch of your own skin and the slow panic of wondering if this is where it ends. Some stretch of woods or an empty siding where the last sound is your own stomach turning in on itself. Your mouth is dry, not painful yet, but close. You lick your lips, taste salt and dust. If you had a coin, you'd trade it for a cup of anything, even ditch water. Even the brackish runoff the cows piss in. You'd drink it all. You swallow. Dry. The man near the back coughs again. That deep kind, where you can hear the wet in his lungs. He spits into a cloth. You know because you've seen him fold it the same way each time, thumb at the edge, tuck and press. The cloth is brown now. It used to be white. You hope he doesn't die in here, not for his sake, for yours. Dead men get doors opened, and open doors mean questions, and questions mean walking again, or running. Your legs are still sore, knees stiff, calves numb. You flex your ankles slowly, feeling the wool tighten around them like rope. You should untie it again, maybe later. Maybe when you trust the ground to be far enough away not to matter. Outside, birds pass, a blur of wings across the slats. You don't look. You already know the sky is clear. That's why it's cold. No clouds, no cover. The sun cuts too sharp through a clear sky. No warmth, just glare. You breathe slow. The train groans again. The wheels sing their song. And still, you wait. Always waiting. Because there's nothing else to do but stay quiet and let the day roll past your bones. You hear the change before you feel it. The clatter softens, rhythm shifting beneath the boxcar floor like a song forgetting its tempo. The tracks flatten, the curve straightens, and the engine's low grunt deepens into a slow churn. This is not a stop, but a hesitation. The kind of pause that makes everyone go still. You sit upright, instinct tightening your spine, your eyes fixed on the slats. No one speaks, not even the dreamer near the barrels. The boy doesn't stir. Only the old man blinks, once, slowly, like he's counting how long it takes for fear to settle. Outside, a shape passes. Not a tree, not a fence. Flat, square, a siding shack or a loading post. You shift slightly toward the light, just enough to see. Boards, half rotted. A coal bin, mostly empty. Rusted tools leaning like old men in the dust. No people, no motion. Just a rail spur bleeding into weeds. The train rolls past it. Doesn't slow further. Relief comes, but not sharp. More like a loosening rope around your ribs. You lean back again, spine pressing into the crate. The corner digs at your shoulder, familiar now. The boy exhales in his sleep, a stuttering sound like a child trying not to cry. You don't touch him. You never have. But you watch, just for a moment, to see if the breath evens out. It does. For now. A pigeon flutters past the slats, wings scattering dust as it lands somewhere on the roof above. You hear its claws tapping on the metal, then silence, then tapping again, rhythmic, like it's looking for something it'll never find. You wonder what it sees from up there. Probably nothing that matters. The light shifts again. Full noon, maybe. Hard to tell from inside. You press your fingers to the crack between boards. The wood is warm. You rub your thumb against the grain, pick at a splinter until it lifts like a splintered tooth. You leave it there. No sense pulling it. Infection travels fast, faster than trains. Your stomach clenches again, the slow fold of emptiness reminding you that it's been more than a day. Maybe two. You've stopped tracking. Hunger doesn't follow time. It has its own measure, a clock made of muscle and fog. You reach for the satchel. Just a gesture now. Your hand moves without hope. Inside, the paper crinkles. You pull it free. Folded and worn, the words half erased by sweat and time. A shipment notice from a depot you've never seen. Nails, screws, lead hammers to be delivered south. You read the line like it means something. It doesn't. But it gives your eyes something to do while your body waits. The train rocks again, a gentle lurch to the left. Someone grunts. Not pain, just adjustment. The boxcar has no grace, but it has its own kind of rhythm. You've learned to lean with it, to let your weight become part of its sway. Resistance is what breaks you. The ones who fight the motion don't last. You've seen that too. You press your paper flat against your knee. The ink is fading. Soon it'll just be blank. That's fine. You already know it by heart. Every smudged letter, every crease. It's yours, even when it disappears. Outside, a new sound. Bells. Far off. Not warning bells. Cowbells. Faint, dull, carried by wind. That means pasture. That means space. That means the train won't stop for a long while yet. You close your eyes again, not to sleep, just to shut the world for a breath. The boy beside you shifts once more, muttering something too soft to catch. The old man doesn't move. The train rolls on. You press the paper to your chest. Let it rise and fall with your breath. A heartbeat made of silence. A promise you never made. And still, you ride. The afternoon settles in like a bruise. Slow, wide, aching more with each hour. You feel it in your back first. The space between your shoulders stiffens, each muscle drawn tight from sitting too long in one position. You shift, stretch just enough to hear your spine crack. The sound is loud in the stillness, and for a moment you freeze, unsure if it was yours alone. No one reacts. The boy stays curled, unmoving. The old man's hand twitches once against his leg, then rests again. You exhale, slow. The boxcar breathes with you. The smell has changed. You notice it slowly. Less mold, more rust. A faint edge of iron hangs in the air, sharp and metallic like blood that's long since dried. It's coming from the crates, or beneath them. Some of the freight in this car isn't food. That much was obvious from the beginning. But now the scent speaks louder, says, tools, or maybe old machine parts coated in grease that never fully cured. You don't mind. Better that than rot. Better iron than something alive trying to die. A splinter works its way into your thumb as you shift. You press it flat against your pants, trying not to flinch. The wood here is full of stories, all violent. Scratches, gouges, initials carved by hands that likely didn't survive the winter. You've seen the marks before. MC scrawled low on the crate by the door, 31 notched into a corner beam, and a name mostly worn away. Edgar, maybe, or Eldon. You'll never know. But they left it, and that counts for something. The wheels stutter once, then resume. Just a rail joint. Just a gap, but it's enough to jolt your thoughts out of rhythm. You look toward the slats again. Sunlight still pours in, but thinner now. The angle has changed. Less harsh, more golden. Afternoon tipping toward evening. You haven't moved more than a foot in 6 hours. You feel it now. The numb behind your knees, the tightness at your ankles. You unloop the wool again. It's damp. The skin underneath is pale, but still pink at the edges. No black yet. That's good. That means you're not losing anything today. A voice hums quietly, not singing, just a hum, the kind that comes from someone trying to stay awake, or keep something from crawling too deep into their mind. It's coming from the man behind the barrels. You'd forgotten he could make sound like that. Soft, rounded, human. For a moment it almost sounds like something you knew once. A lullaby, a hymn. Then it fades again. Just air. You draw your knees up tighter, chin resting between them. The coat covers most of you now, but your shoulders stay cold. The tear at the seams widened. You'll need to stitch it if you find thread, if you ever stop long enough. The thought makes you laugh under your breath. The sound is too dry to echo. The boy stirs, just his hand, twitching like it wants to grasp something. He whispers. One word. Mama. You pretend not to hear it. Not because you're cruel, because you've said that word too. Once, when your fever broke in a rail yard outside Wichita, you remember the dirt, the color of blood. You remember the way no one looked when you called out. The way even the dogs walked away. Outside, fences flash past, short ones, crude, nailed from warped boards. Livestock fences, but no animals, just the shape of where they might have stood. You blink slowly. You're tired, but not enough to sleep. You've reached that state in between, where the body softens but the brain sharpens. It's not rest. It's not escape. It's just drifting. You close your eyes anyway. The motion of the train is enough now. You know every sound it makes, every note in its endless, wordless song. It carries you, not forward, just away. And for today, that's enough. The drifting deepens into a numb float, your thoughts blurring like the fields outside. You don't know how long your eyes stay closed. Time is a vague thing in the boxcar, measured not by clocks but by weight, the weight in your legs, the weight behind your eyes, the heaviness in your stomach that doesn't go away, only shifts like wet cloth soaked with want. When you open your eyes again, the light is orange, not the soft amber of morning, not the raw gold of noon, sunset. You missed its beginning. You're just in time for its end. The boy is awake now. He doesn't look at you. He's pulling at the edge of his blanket, twisting it around one finger. His lips move slightly. Maybe a prayer. Maybe nothing. You don't speak. You shift to sit straighter, press your shoulder blades against the crate behind you. The pressure helps, reminds you you're still in your body. Sometimes that's not a comfort, but it's something. The old man beside the barrel has moved his legs. They're stretched out now, his boots crossed at the ankles. One sole is almost worn through. You can see the white of sock peeking out, dirty and frayed. His chest rises and falls evenly, though each breath sounds like sand being raked. The pipe is gone, maybe pocketed, maybe lost beneath him. Doesn't matter. The hum returns. That same low tune from before. You realize it's not the man behind the barrels. It's the bootless one. His voice is cracked, but there's tone in it. Something careful, like the whisper of a song someone's afraid to remember. You listen. It's not English, just syllables. Maybe from childhood, maybe from madness. Still, it smooths the air around it. The boxcar softens with it. You reach into your satchel again. Your hand moves without thinking. The paper's still there. You unfold it, careful not to tear the brittle crease. The ink is almost gone in the middle, but you trace it with your finger. Lead hammers. You say the words under your breath. They mean nothing, but the act of saying them fills the air with something other than silence. You fold it again, slip it back. Outside, the sun dips behind a low ridge. You see it in the way the shadows lean. Longer now. Hungrier. The trees blur faster, their shapes flattened by light. You stop trying to see detail. It doesn't matter. Nothing out there is meant for you. Not tonight. You shift again, your back stiff. The ache is deep now, in the bone. You stretch your legs, slow, dragging your heel until the knot of wool loosens. Your ankles throb from stillness. You let them breathe. The boy watches, just for a second, then turns away. That's fine. You didn't want company, just quiet acknowledgement. The train begins to slow, not sharply, just a glide like it's slipping into caution. You freeze. So does the boy. The humming stops. Every ear turns to the track. You can hear the grind lessen, the pitch fall half a note. This isn't a full stop. Just a decision being made. The kind that happens beneath your feet and far away, in a cabin you'll never see. Then, a whistle. One short burst, a cow signal. Could be crossing. Could be livestock up ahead. You don't move. You wait. The boy leans his head against the wall. He's breathing through his mouth now, slow and dry. You wonder when he last drank, when any of you did. Your own throat is cracked. You swallow. It scratches. Still nothing to drink. Still no reason to hope. But the train keeps moving. The whistle fades. The rhythm returns. And with it, your breath evens. The car is darkening. Soon there'll be only outlines. Then sleep. Or something near it. You let your head tilt. Let the crate support you. Let the sound carry you forward into another night that won't ask questions. Only pass through. Quietly. Relentlessly. Like the tracks themselves. Night presses in without ceremony. 1 minute there's color, and the next it's only blue fading into gray. The boxcar walls swallow the light, every splintered board now just a shadow of itself. You can't see the boy anymore, only the shape of him, curled tighter now, arms folded into his chest like a package that's already been returned too many times. The old man hasn't moved again. Or maybe he has and you didn't hear it. The floor sways gently, the rhythm of the rails softening under the cover of dark. You shift your legs, slow and deliberate, dragging your knees up toward your chest. The motion pulls at your lower back, a sharp stretch that makes you wince, though you don't make a sound. Noise costs too much in here. Every sound is an announcement, every movement an invitation. Better to be still, to vanish in plain sight. You lean your head back until it touches the crate. The wood is cold now. The heat of the day fled with the sun. What's left is the kind of chill that sneaks into your joints and stays there, pretending to be something smaller than it is. The train doesn't slow again. That's the only blessing. It hums forward, steady, a long exhale into darkness. You listen to the wheels, the clack, the hiss, the occasional groan. It's the only voice you trust. People speak to survive, but trains speak the truth. If it's moving, you're not being dragged off yet. If it's singing, there's still a chance you'll wake up somewhere new. Not better, just new. Something rustles behind the barrels. A cough. Not the deep one from earlier. This is drier, more like a whisper trying to claw its way out. You don't look. You've seen what happens when curiosity becomes concern. You've watched men take too much of someone else's burden and drown in it. Here you carry your own weight. No more, no less. The boy shifts again. His head bumps the wall. He mutters, then falls silent. You wonder if he'll cry again. He didn't last night. But the nights are getting colder now. Crying might be the only warmth he remembers. You rub your arms through your coat. The seam is splitting again near the shoulder. You tug at it gently, feeling the tear widen between your fingers. You'll need to mend it with something. Maybe thread from your sock, if you can peel it without destroying the rest. That's the game. Trade one discomfort for another. Reshuffle the pain. Move it like coins between empty pockets. You reach for your satchel again. Not for food. You know better. But for the weight, the shape, the texture of the familiar. The button is there. Cool. Hard. You press it into your palm. The paper, too, still folded, still unread tonight. You know what it says, but holding it is different. Holding it reminds you that not everything is gone, not yet. Outside, the wind has changed. You feel it through the slats, less sharp, more still. A valley, maybe, or just a lull in the cold. Either way, it gives you a moment's peace. You lean forward, chin on your knees, and let your eyes close. You won't sleep, not fully, but you'll rest your sight. A faint thud. Someone drops something. Cloth, maybe. Then quiet again. The dark holds everything now. Shapes, names, regrets. You feel your breath in your throat. Dry, slow. You count each exhale. Not to pass time, just to know you're still doing it. The train keeps moving. That's what matters. For now, there are no lights, no towns, no reason to rise. Only rails, only motion, only night. And the promise that morning hasn't found you yet. The cold sharpens around midnight. It creeps in like a thief, slow and certain, finding the soft parts of your body first. The space behind your knees, the bend of your neck, the edges of your fingers where the blood forgets to flow. You feel it take hold, not with a jolt, but with a quiet insistence. It doesn't want attention, just submission. You pull your coat tighter, tucking your arms in, curling forward until your ribs ache from pressing against your own legs. It doesn't help much. The wind finds its way through anyway. The boy is breathing softly. His blanket rustles every so often, but he's still. You imagine he's dreaming. Something warm, maybe. A meal, a stove, something with sound and color. You used to have dreams like that. But they stopped months ago, replaced by visions of empty streets and silent doors. Your mind no longer reaches for comfort. Just distance. Just space. The floor beneath you groans as the train shifts, a gentle rock from side to side. The boxcar is quieter now than it was during the day, the movement of bodies slowed by exhaustion. Even the man with the cough has gone silent. You wonder if he's asleep, or if his lungs have finally lost the fight. Either way, no one checks. Death isn't news in here. It's just another form of stillness. Your stomach knots again. The hunger is sharper now, having passed through numbness into ache. It tightens around itself, like it's trying to gnaw through bone. You breathe slow, deep, like that can fool your body into thinking it's being fed. You think about bread, not soft or sweet, just something thick and plain, something with weight. You chew it slowly, letting the crust scrape your teeth. The crumbs stick to your lips, but there's no bread, just breath. You rest your head on your knees again, trying not to think. The motion of the train helps, the endless forward pull. You imagine the rails stretching ahead, two black veins leading to somewhere else. Not better. just not here. You picture towns with names you'll never learn, men unloading crates like the ones you lean against, dust rising under boots, the sound of hammer on iron. All of it happens without you, far beyond the wood and shadow. A soft thump to your right. The boy has shifted again. He's curled tighter, one hand pressed against his face. His blanket has slipped down to his waist. You reach out slowly, pull it back up over his shoulder. He doesn't wake, but his breathing steadies. You draw your hand back just as slowly. That's the closest you've come to touching another person in days. The slats overhead show nothing now. The sky is black, no stars, no moon, just void. The kind of dark that swallows everything and forgets to give it back. You wonder if you'll see the sun again tomorrow, not because you doubt it'll rise, just because you doubt you'll still care when it does. You stretch one leg, then the other, just enough to keep your joints from locking. The cold makes your knees pop. You wince. No one hears, or if they do, they don't respond. There's nothing left to say. You close your eyes. Let the sound of the wheels pull at your thoughts. Let the darkness settle on your shoulders. It's not peace, but it's quiet. And quiet is the only thing that doesn't cost anything in here. The train keeps going. You feel it in your spine, in your ribs, in the weight of your head against your knees. Always forward, always away. And somewhere ahead, there's another siding, another hour, another long breath pulled from an empty chest. But for now, there's only the cold, the dark, and the soft hum of motion that carries you through it. You don't know if you've slept or not. The boxcar never gets quiet enough for real rest. Just something near it, a fog of stillness where thoughts blur and time skips. Your neck hurts when you lift your head, not from injury, just from hours spent folded inward. You blink. The dark hasn't changed. Maybe it's not morning yet, or maybe it is and the clouds are thick. You've seen that before. A dawn that forgets to rise, smothered under skies the color of wet wool. The boy's still beside you, curled the same way, his mouth slightly open. You can hear the faint whistle of breath through his nose. He's young, too young for this. But then, everyone's too young for this, even the old ones, even you. You lost track of your own years somewhere between 2 counties and a winter storm. Age feels like a thing for people who stay in one place, not for boxcar riders with dust for calendars. You stretch your legs, slow and careful. The wool wrappings around your feet feel like ice. You peel one off just to see. Your toes are red, puffy around the edges, but still moving, still yours. You rub them, slow, grinding dirt into skin. Doesn't matter. The filth's already part of you. The train sways, a long curve. You brace yourself against the crate, fingers splayed on the wood. The movement isn't sharp, but it makes your stomach turn. Not from motion, from hunger, again. Always. You breathe slow, trying to ignore it. Your mouth tastes like dust and old metal. You chew your tongue. There's nothing else. Someone coughs. The man behind the barrels. A dry bark that ends in silence. You glance that way. Nothing moves. He's hidden by shadow. You wonder if he's sitting up or lying down. You wonder if he's still breathing. Then the cough comes again. Quieter, like it got smaller on the way out. You look away. If he dies, he dies. You can't carry him, not even in your thoughts. You pull the satchel into your lap. Open it by feel. The button's there. The paper too. You take the button out, hold it in your palm. You've polished it so often with your fingers that the bird stamp is wearing down. It used to be sharp. Now it looks like a smear. You press your thumb into it. It's cool, heavy, solid. The only thing in this car that belongs to you and only you. You hear a soft voice, the boy, whispering, words you don't understand, maybe not even English, or maybe just words so quiet they've lost their shape. You don't interrupt. Let him talk to whatever's listening, if anything is. You've tried before, but silence always answered back. The boxcar's motion slows, just slightly, a hesitation in the rhythm. You feel your chest tighten. A stop, another siding. You lean toward the slats, a flash of fence, a pole, then black again. The train doesn't stop, just breathes once, then picks up speed. You lean back, let the air out slowly. Not yet, not here. You close your eyes. Try to remember the last town you passed, the last name you read on a sign. Nothing comes. Just shapes, lights, the smell of cooked meat through an open window. You cling to that, the meat. You imagine it thick and greasy, wrapped in paper, dripping fat. You imagine biting it. You imagine chewing. Your stomach knots so hard it aches. You press your hand to it, rub slow, like that might trick it into patience. Outside, the night drags on. The train keeps going. The boy goes quiet again. The old man shifts. A nail scratches against wood. And still, the world rolls past unseen. You let it. You're not ready to meet it yet. Not until the sun says you have to. Not until something more than hunger calls you back. Something wakes you. Not a sound, not exactly. More like the absence of one. The train isn't moving. The rhythm is gone. You feel it before your eyes even open. That hollow stillness, like the breath has been sucked out of the world. You lift your head slowly, every joint stiff, your neck cracking like brittle wood. The boxcar doesn't creak. The wind doesn't moan. Only your own breath, dry and thin, rasping through your throat. You look through the slats. It's still dark, but the kind that comes before dawn. A deep, purplish black, the edges of night fraying like an old blanket. You see trees, not many, sparse, leafless, winter trees. There's frost on the ground, just a dusting, but you can smell it in the air. That sharp bite like rust and ice. No one speaks. You shift upright, listening. The boy is still curled beside you, unmoving but breathing. His blanket is wrapped tight. One foot sticks out. His sock is torn open at the toe. You can see the pink of bare skin. You wonder if he feels the cold the same way you do. Not sharp, but heavy, like wearing wet stones. The old man behind the crate is coughing again, not loud, but steady. You hear him spit, then drag something across the floor. Cloth, maybe, his coat. He doesn't try to rise, just breathes like each inhale has to be negotiated. Then a noise from outside. Boots on gravel. Not many. 2, maybe 3 men. Voices low, muffled by distance. You hear a laugh. Then silence. Then a clank of metal. A latch. Maybe a boxcar door further down the line. You don't move. You don't breathe too deep. If they open this door, you want to be part of the dark, not something separate from it. You reach for your satchel without thinking. Pull it close. Hold it against your chest, like it could shield you. Like a button and a paper scrap could tell the men out there that you belong here, that you matter. The boy stirs, a soft groan, barely audible. His arm shifts, hand flopping to the floor beside him. He doesn't wake. You reach over, gently push his hand back under the blanket. He twitches, then settles. The boots crunch away, fading. You don't hear a door slide open. Just the rattle of chain, the groan of brakes, the low grunt of a locomotive idling in the dark. You exhale. Not relief, just a release. You know better than to hope they're gone for good. They come back. Always do. The cold deepens. You feel it settle into your spine, into your knees, your hips. You pull your coat tighter. The tear in the sleeve gapes now. You cross your arms, trying to seal the gap with your own body. You whisper to yourself, just once. A word you don't remember choosing. Could be a name. Could be nothing. It vanishes before you hear it properly. Then, from the far corner, the man with the boots coughs, louder this time. A groan follows, his first sound in hours. You glance that way. He's sitting up barely, eyes open. He looks at you, just for a second, then down, then nothing. The sky lightens slightly, that moment before the birds begin, when the world is paused, caught between breaths. You shift again, tuck your knees under your coat, lean your head back against the crate. You know the train will move again, maybe in minutes, maybe longer, but it will, it always does. And when it does, you'll still be here, cold, hungry, waiting for something you can't name, but not gone. Not yet. The train groans awake like something wounded. A long, aching sound rolls through the boxcar as steel shifts against steel, and the first slow tug pulls at your body. You don't brace. You let it take you. The motion is familiar, almost comforting in its cruelty. A promise that the night has passed and the world continues whether you're ready or not. The others stir in silence. The boy curls tighter, pulling the blanket over his head without waking fully. The old man doesn't move, but his hand is clenched now, fingers wrapped around something. The pipe, maybe, or just empty air shaped like memory. The man behind the barrels lets out a low grunt, as though the motion itself has surprised him. It's the first sound you've heard him make that wasn't a cough or mutter. You press your hand to the floor. It's damp again. Condensation or sweat or both. The cold has sunk into the wood overnight and now returns through your palm like a warning. You sit up straighter, adjusting your coat. The tear under your arm has widened again. You'll need to stitch it soon, if you can find thread. If you ever stop long enough to sew, outside the world is still shadowed. The sky is turning from black to charcoal, but there's no sun yet. Just the first hints of gray against the trees. You can see the outline of hills now, bare and sharp, their spines cutting across the horizon like the ribs of some sleeping animal. Smoke rises in the distance. Not thick, not dangerous. Probably a chimney. Probably someone with fire and coffee and warmth. You don't let the image hold. It hurts too much. The boy stirs. He pulls the blanket down just far enough to peek out. His eyes are open but vacant, the kind of gaze that hasn't decided if it belongs to the living or not. You nod to him. Not a greeting, just confirmation. He sees you. You see him. That's all that matters. He doesn't speak. Just shifts his legs beneath the wool, curls deeper into himself. You respect that. Words are too sharp in the morning. You reach for your satchel, fingers finding the familiar. Button. Paper. You turn the button over in your palm. It's worn smooth now, barely more than a disc with a faint curve. But it still feels right in your hand, still carries the shape of something that was once a part of something better. The train picks up speed. The wheels settle into rhythm. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sound enter you. You count the clicks. You match them to your breath. It helps. It always does. Then, a whistle. One long, low note. You know this sound. Not a danger signal. A crossing. A town ahead. Could be small. Could be nothing but a name on a board. But towns mean stops. And stops mean decisions. You shift closer to the slats, press your cheek against the wood. The wind rushes past outside, colder now. You squint through the gap and see it. Houses, small and scattered. smoke rising from chimneys, fields edged in frost. You scan for figures. None yet. Just outlines of barns, fences, trees. Still too far to know if anyone waits. You pull back, not ready to see more. You've seen enough towns pass by like ghosts. Places with people who don't look at boxcars, who don't hear the quiet inside them. The boy is sitting up now, just barely. His face is pale, lips cracked. He looks at you again, says nothing, just breathes. The train rolls on, closer, slower. Soon the decision will come, jump or ride, stay or go, but not yet. For now you wait. Let the wheels sing. Let the cold hold you. Let the morning decide what you become next. The train slows again, this time with purpose. You feel it in your ribs, a drawn-out tension like breath held too long. Not a lurch, not a warning, just the steady, quiet preparation of a stop that doesn't want to announce itself. You rise to one knee, ignoring the groan in your joints. The boy does the same, slower. He wipes at his mouth with the edge of the blanket and blinks like he's seeing daylight for the first time in days. Maybe he is. The world outside emerges slowly. First fences, then sheds, then dirt paths lined with frostbitten weeds. No platforms, no buildings tall enough to cast proper shadows. Just a siding, a pull-off town. You squint through the slats. There's a cart near a shed, wooden, cracked, with one wheel stuck in the mud. A goat stares at it blankly. No people yet. Smoke from a chimney, low and pale. Whoever lives here doesn't want to be seen. The boy leans closer to the slats beside you. You don't push him away. He stays silent, just watches. His breath fogs the gap. He wipes it away with his sleeve, then keeps watching. The old man hasn't moved. You glance his way. His head is back against the crate, mouth slightly open. You see his chest rise, slow. Still here, still breathing. For now. The train eases into full stop. The boxcar rocks once, then settles. Metal clicks somewhere up the line, a brake lever thrown, the hiss of pressure being released. You listen. No voices, no boots on gravel, just the sound of wind threading through the trees and the tick of cooling iron. This is the part that hurts. Not the ride, not the cold. This moment, this open door that doesn't open. You shift your weight forward, hands on your knees. The boy mirrors you, still nothing from outside. You know this routine. You know they'll wait just long enough to tempt you, just long enough to make you believe you could find something out there. You glance down at your feet. Your wrappings are loose again. The wool is stiff with old sweat, the cords frayed. You could retie them now. You could prepare to leave, or stay wrapped in stillness. You don't know yet. The boy whispers, "Is this it?" You don't answer right away. His voice is raw, barely there. The words feel like they cost him. He asks again, softer, "Do we get out?" You look at him. Really look. His face is sunken, lips cracked white, eyes dull from sleep and cold and not enough anything. You shake your head once. "No," you say. "Not yet." He doesn't argue, just sits back, pulls the blanket tighter and rests his chin on his knees. Trust without understanding, or maybe just exhaustion. The train remains still. No door opens. No men appear. You know what this is. A water stop. Maybe coal. Maybe nothing. Just a scheduled tick no one pays attention to anymore. They'll be here 5 minutes, maybe 10, then moving again. You sit down slowly, back against the crate. The wood is damp again. You feel it through your coat. You press your satchel into your lap. The button is still inside, still cold, still waiting. The boy yawns. A dry rasp. He doesn't cover his mouth. There's no one left to care. Outside, a crow calls once. Loud. Too loud. Then silence again. Then, like a thread being pulled tight, the train clicks forward. Just a nudge. But it's enough. You don't move. Not yet. The wheels begin to turn. The boxcar shivers. The siding slips past the slats. The town is already fading. You never saw a soul. You exhale. The boy closes his eyes. The train rolls on. You remain. And for now, that's enough. The siding slips behind like a half-remembered dream. Fence posts shrinking into the mist. The crooked shed swallowed by frostbitten trees. And the ghost of smoke unraveling into sky. You don't turn to look back. You've learned not to. Towns like that are meant to be left behind before they ever reach you. The boy leans his head against the slats, eyes closed now, his breath steady. He's not sleeping, not quite, just giving his body to the ride again. The rhythm returns. Wheels click in their old chant, a language older than your thoughts. You match your breath to the sound, in and out. Inhale on the rise, exhale on the fall. The floor is colder now. Your spine aches where it presses the seam between boards. You adjust, tuck the satchel behind your back, but it's too thin to cushion. Still, it's something. Still, it's yours. The old man coughs, not loud, a dry scrape like bark peeling off a dead tree. You glance over. His hand is on his chest now, fingers twitching. His eyes are open, staring at the roof beams like he's trying to remember their name. He doesn't speak, just breathes, shallow and slow. You consider asking if he needs something, but there's nothing to offer, so you look away. Sunlight finds its way into the car, slicing low through the slats, pale and weak, but enough to cast long shadows, the kind that stretch too far for their shape. It warms nothing, just makes the air glow like dust. You let it touch your face for a minute. It feels like being remembered by something distant and impersonal. You stretch your legs again. The wool wraps have slipped. Your ankle throbs from where the cord bit too tight last night. You unwrap it slowly, easing the knots apart with shaking fingers. The cloth comes away stiff and gray. You rub the skin beneath. It's red, puffed, not bleeding yet. You'll have to retie it soon, but not now, not while the train still moves. From behind the barrels a hum starts. That same songless tune, wordless and raw, vibrating through the wood. The bootless man again. His voice sounds thinner now, like wind over broken glass. But it fills the car in a way nothing else does. Not comfort, not hope, just presence. You close your eyes and let it rest behind your ears. The boy stirs, opens his eyes. He looks at you, says nothing, then at the humming man. He listens too. You see something flicker behind his eyes. Memory, maybe, or grief. It passes like the sunbeam, quick and uninvited. "Where do you think we're going?" he asks. You pause. Not because the question is hard, but because there's no right answer. "South," you say. He nods as if that's enough. You add, "Maybe Georgia." He pulls the blanket tighter. "I heard there's oranges down there." You don't answer. You don't know if there are. But you let the idea sit between you. Something round and sweet and distant. He rests his head on his knees again. The hum stops. Silence presses back in. Outside, the trees change shape. Taller now. Pines thick and close together. The air through the cracks smells different. Less smoke, more earth. A sign that the land is shifting again. You breathe it in. The old man coughs once more, then goes still. You don't check, you just listen for the breath. Still there, still slow. The train keeps moving. You lean your head back. The crate creaks behind you. The wheels clack their rhythm. The sun climbs higher. You don't move. You don't plan. You just remain. And the world keeps sliding by. By noon, the heat changes. It doesn't warm, not really, just shifts. The cold in your bones doesn't leave, but it loosens a little. Enough for your fingers to move without cracking. Enough for your face to thaw at the edges. You stretch your legs across the floorboards, careful not to bump the boy, who's begun to doze again. His chin rests on his knees, mouth open slightly, one hand still clutching the torn edge of his blanket like it might vanish if he lets go. The boxcar breathes with the land. You feel every bend in the tracks now, each turn pulling your weight sideways, each slope making your ears ring a little with pressure. The rails aren't smooth. You don't want them to be. The small jerks and shifts are reminders that you're not buried yet. That motion is still happening no matter how slow. You finger the button in your coat pocket again, tracing the faint outline of the bird. You used to imagine it flying. Not anymore. Now it just sits, a thing that once moved, now still. You think of that sometimes when you look at your hands, what they used to do, what they've forgotten. The cuts on your knuckles haven't closed, not properly. The skin is tight, like old paper. One split reopened during the night. You press your thumb against it, watching the skin blanch, then redden, still alive. The old man hasn't coughed in an hour. You glance at him. His eyes are closed, mouth slack, chest still rising, barely. You think about asking if he's all right, but the thought leaves your mind before it finishes forming. You know the answer, and he wouldn't give it to you even if he could. From the far corner, something falls. A tin cup, rusted and crushed, rolling once before settling near your foot. You pick it up. It's dented at the rim, the inside lined with flakes of something dried and black. Coffee once, or blood, or both. You turn it over, then slide it beside your satchel. Might be useful, might not. Everything is a maybe now. The train slows slightly. Not a stop, just a hesitation. You feel it in your teeth. A brief hush in the rhythm. Then the familiar clatter returns. Ahead, through the slats, you catch a glimpse of water, wide and still, pale like sky turned to metal. A river, no bridge, just running alongside for a while. You wonder what's on the other side, if there's another track, another town, another car like this, carrying others like you. The boy opens his eyes again. You think they'll feed us? You shake your head. Not cruelly, just honest. No one feeds ghosts, you say. He blinks, doesn't cry, just nods, slow, like he knew but wanted to ask anyway. He presses his face into the blanket again. You look away. The wind changes, carries the smell of damp wood and something rotting, not strong, just the hint of decay under sun. You lean closer to the slats, searching. Nothing but trees now. No buildings, no smoke. Just the endless passing of pine and dirt. You shift your coat tighter around your chest. The buttons are mismatched. One's missing. You don't remember when it fell. Somewhere back west. Somewhere with mud and dogs and a fence that tore your coat as you ducked it. You'd been running. Not from anything. Just forward. Always forward. The train hums again. The wheels strike a new rhythm. A long, straight stretch, maybe. You lean your head back against the crate. Close your eyes. You're tired, but not enough to sleep. The ache is awake now. The hunger, too. But the motion carries you. And so, like the others, you endure. 1 mile at a time. The pine thins by mid-afternoon, giving way to open fields patched with frost and stubborn stalks of yellow grass. You watch the change happen slowly, how the trees pull back like a curtain opening on emptiness. No fences, no homes, no animals. Just long, uneven ground. Low hills that seem to move only because the train does. The light softens too. Not golden, but washed, like everything outside is wrapped in cloth. You press your fingers against the slats, feeling the wind shift between them. It's dry now, not sharp, but worn out. Even the cold seems tired. The boy hasn't moved. His eyes are closed again. The way he clutches the blanket, you know he's not sleeping, just pretending. You've done the same, back when pretending felt easier than explaining. He stirs once, adjusts the corner over his shoulder, and settles back into stillness. You don't say anything. Let him keep it, whatever it is. Memory, illusion, hope. You turn your attention to the crate behind you. It's heavy, probably full of bolts or machine parts. It hasn't shifted once since you boarded. That's how you know it's full. You wonder where it's headed. If someone on the other end is waiting to open it. If they'll curse the dents in the wood, the scratches, the signs of weight pressed too long against rusted steel. You wonder what they'll do when they see nothing inside but metal. Not a single person, not a single voice. Just freight. The humming begins again. Soft at first, like a breath on glass. It's the bootless man. You can't see him from where you sit, but you can feel the sound brush against your ears like wind through reeds. The same tune, no words, no rhythm, just motion. You close your eyes and listen. The wheels join in, clacking their agreement. The boxcar responds with its own creaks and moans, and for a moment it feels like music. Not beauty, not joy, just sound filling space where silence would rot. You check your satchel again. The tin cup still rests inside, cool against the button. You pull it out and place it beside your foot. If the train stops again, you might try. A pump, a trough, a spout leaking behind a shed. Water exists somewhere. You just have to be quick enough to find it before it dries or disappears. Your mouth is dry, tongue heavy. You try not to think about it, but the dryness cracks your thoughts the way ice splits underfoot. You remember streams, cold water, the way it felt between your teeth. Not like this, not like breathing through cloth. The train groans, then jerks slightly. You grip the crate, steadying yourself. The boy jerks too, startled. His eyes open wide, then blink slowly. He doesn't speak, just looks at you, waiting. You shake your head. Not yet, not this stop. He nods once and lays his head back down. Outside, the fields grow flatter. A road appears, dirt carved through frost, tire lines sunk deep and frozen over. It runs beside the tracks for a while, then veers off, disappearing behind a distant rise. You follow it with your eyes, wondering if it leads to people, to food, to a town that doesn't bolt its doors when the whistle blows. The wind returns, gentle, steady. It sneaks through the slats and tugs at your coat, your hair, your hunger. You tuck your chin into your collar and wait for it to pass. It doesn't, not all the way. You press your hand to the floor again, feel the vibration of the rails. Not just sound, but proof. You're still moving, still going. Not somewhere, not home, just away. The fields roll on. The shadows grow longer. The train continues, and you stay where you are, stitched into the boxcar like part of its cargo. A body in motion, waiting for the next change, whatever it might be. Afternoon passes without announcement. The train doesn't stop. The landscape doesn't change. Just more frostbitten grass and low gray hills that blur into sky. Even the shadows seem too lazy to stretch far. You watch them shift on the boxcar floor, thin and slanting, the light above turning from dull gold to something dimmer, more metallic. There's no warmth in it, just proof that another day is running out. The boy hasn't spoken again. He sits up now, eyes open, but focused somewhere inside himself. His lips are cracked deeper than this morning. You can tell he's trying not to lick them. He's learning what you already know. Dry only gets drier. He scratches at the edge of his blanket, pulling a loose thread, winding it around his thumb. You used to do that too, before the nerves in your hands forgot how to fidget. The old man is awake. His breath rasps quietly now, regular but strained. You hear the shift of cloth as he adjusts his weight. He doesn't look at anyone, doesn't speak. Just breathes like the effort costs him more each time. You glance once, then away. You've seen that kind of breathing before. It never lasts long. The boxcar sways again, hitting a stretch of uneven track. The crates groan. A nail somewhere near your shoulder pops loose, sticks out slightly, catching the hem of your coat when you lean. You tug it free. It leaves a new tear. You don't bother looking. You just fold your arms tighter, letting your body heat fight its losing battle. A bird passes outside, just a flicker of wings and shadow. You hear it chirp once before it disappears. Strange hearing something alive. You blink, startled by how loud it seemed. The train hums beneath you, indifferent. You press your palm against the floor. The wood is cold but steady. You close your eyes, let the rhythm speak. The humming starts again. Fainter now. The bootless man, still holding on to whatever melody lives in his head. It's slower this time, almost broken in places. You wonder if he knows he's singing, or if it's just a leak from a part of him that never learned silence. You don't mind it. It's better than nothing. Better than the sound your stomach makes when it forgets what food is. You reach for the tin cup, hold it between your hands. You want to believe there's weight to it, but it's so light. You place it on the floor beside your leg. You imagine filling it. Clear water, cold enough to sting your teeth. You imagine handing it to the boy first. He'd drink it slow, not greedy. He knows better. Then you'd take what's left, just enough to remember what wet feels like. The sun dips lower. You can tell by the angle of light how it no longer touches your face, only the tops of your knees. The air grows sharper. The frost outside is thickening again. Soon there'll be ice on the rails. You've ridden those nights. You remember the sound of metal grinding beneath frost, the sudden snap of cold through your boots. It's coming. You glance at the boy again. He's watching the cup, not moving toward it, just watching. You nudge it gently his way. He doesn't touch it, just looks at you, then back down. He knows it's empty. You both do. Still, the gesture matters. It says, I see you. I haven't forgotten you're here. The train keeps going. The sky is bruising now. Purples and grays crawling over the horizon like fingers closing a curtain. Night will come again. Another cold crawl through silence and ache. But not yet. For now the light still lives. The wheels still turn. And you are still here, waiting, always waiting. The sun is almost gone now, just a faint smear of orange clinging to the underside of the clouds like an old bruise that refuses to fade. You sit back, leaning hard into the crate behind you, letting the wood dig into your spine. It hurts, but not in a way that matters. Pain has its place here. It helps you remember you're still part of the world, that you haven't disappeared into the boards like a ghost with nothing left to anchor it. The boy has drawn the blanket over his head again. You can see the shape of his breath underneath, a soft puff of fog each time he exhales. His hands are tucked tight beneath his knees, his back curved in a way that looks more like defense than sleep. He's shrinking, not just from cold or hunger, but from days of being unheld, unspoken to. You want to say something, but words feel too sharp now, too heavy in the mouth, so you stay quiet. You let him pretend he's alone, if that's what helps. The old man groans, a low sound from deep in his chest. You turn your head. His body has slumped sideways, resting against the wall of the car. One leg is stretched out, the other bent at an odd angle. His hand twitches against his coat, fingers scratching at something that isn't there. He's awake, barely. His mouth opens, closes. No words come, just a breath that struggles to form meaning. You listen. No other voices, just the wheels, just the wind, just the old man dying in the slowest way possible. Not all at once, but bit by bit, like the flame of a match left in the rain. He won't last another night like this. You know it. So does he. You check your own hands again. They're shaking now, from cold or hunger or both. You rub them against your thighs, trying to stir warmth, but it's no use. The heat left with the sun. You remember fire, not clearly, but enough to know what it smelled like. Pine resin, meat fat, the crackle of sap. You can almost see it, the flicker against the walls of some long-forgotten shack, the glow dancing in someone else's eyes. You blink. It's gone. The train starts a new rhythm, a longer rise, then fall. A valley, maybe, or a bridge. You feel the floor dip slightly beneath you, your stomach tightening. The boy shifts under the blanket. He lifts the edge just enough to peek out, then lowers it again. You hear him sniff once, then nothing. You reach for your satchel, pull out the paper. You unfold it carefully, smoothing the creases with your thumb. The ink is nearly gone now, but you know the words. Lead hammers, screws, southbound. You mouth them without sound, like a prayer. You don't know why you do it. Maybe to mark the hour. Maybe because it's the only thing you've had for this long that hasn't abandoned you. Outside, the trees return, bare branches clawing at the last light. Shadows deepen in the car. The boy vanishes again into shape and cloth. The old man goes silent. You press your back harder into the crate, curl your legs close, and wrap your arms tight across your chest. You wait. The train rolls forward. The sky darkens. The wind finds every hole in the boxcar wall and breathes through them like a curse. You close your eyes. You count your breaths. You do not cry. Not anymore. There's no one left to hear it. Only the rails. Only the cold. Only the long stretch of night between where you are and wherever you won't belong next. The night returns without warning. One moment, you see the last color bleeding from the horizon. The next, everything is gray and then black. The kind of black that flattens the world, removes edges, swallows outlines. You shift your weight against the crate, listening to how the train responds to darkness. The wheels don't change. The rhythm is constant. But the silence in between grows longer, heavier. It presses down on the boxcar like new snow on an old roof. The boy doesn't speak. He's a shadow now, all blanket and breath. You hear him move once, a slow rustle, a repositioning. He's still cold, still hungry, still too small for this kind of night. You want to say his name, but you don't know it. You never asked. He never told. That's how it is here. Names don't matter when nothing else lasts. The old man breathes in short, thin bursts. He hasn't shifted in an hour. You strain your ears, counting the gaps between each breath. They're growing longer, not slow like sleep, slow like forgetting, like his body is trying to let go, but the air won't leave him yet. You look away, not out of disrespect, but because you've seen enough endings to know when one is close. If he dies, he'll do it quietly. The boxcar will hold him until it can't anymore. You don't owe him anything, not grief, not comfort, just space. The humming has stopped. The bootless man is silent now, maybe asleep, maybe listening, maybe gone. You don't check. The dark makes everything uncertain, and reaching into it for answers only opens more questions. You sit still, arms wrapped tight around your knees, chin tucked against your coat. Your lips are cracked. Every breath you take hurts just a little. You think about stepping out, not from the train, just from your own skin. You imagine leaving the cold behind, slipping from your coat, your bones, your name, floating into the trees, becoming part of the wind that screams between the rails, but the thought fades. You're too tired for fantasy, and the train won't let you go anyway. It keeps you, carries you, because it knows you have nowhere else to be. You reach for your satchel again. The button is there, still smooth, still solid. You press it to your cheek for a moment, feel the cold of it. It helps in a strange way, like proof that something in the world remains unchanged. You close your hand around it and hold it to your chest. A new sound rises in the distance. A horn, not sharp, not urgent, just long and low, like a voice calling across an empty field. You sit up straighter, a crossing maybe, or a switch point. The kind of place where men with lanterns walk the gravel. You listen harder, no voices, no brakes, just that horn. Then the wind again. The boy coughs once, muffled in the blanket. You glance over. He doesn't lift his head, just shifts closer to the crate, burrows down like an animal curling deeper into itself. You want to tell him he's doing the right thing, that staying small is how you stay alive, but the words stay in your throat. The air inside the car has gone still. No motion now, just vibration. You don't know how long it's been since you last saw your own hands. Maybe an hour, maybe more. You stop counting. There's no point. The train keeps rolling. The world stays black. You are still here, still holding on, still waiting for something other than morning, something heavier, something final. But for now, all there is night. The whistle sounds again, longer this time, its tone echoing into the dark like a slow scream wrapped in distance. You raise your head slightly, listening for what might follow. Nothing comes. No brakes. No shout. Just the hum of rails beneath you, the low rattle of the boxcar's bones. The boy doesn't stir. He's still a lump of cloth and breath, curled so tight that his shape no longer looks human. The old man hasn't moved either. You don't look at him anymore. You've already said goodbye, even if you didn't use words. The wind is cruel tonight. It slips through the slats like a knife, slicing the space behind your ears, the folds of your coat, the places your warmth has tried to hide. You rock slightly in place, not for comfort but for rhythm, your body trying to match the rails, like movement alone might keep your blood from freezing. It doesn't help much, but it gives your hands something to do, wrapped around your knees, clenching and unclenching without thought. You remember a fire once, real, not imagined. A ring of stones and a pot of beans boiling so slow it drove everyone mad. There'd been wood, dry and cracking. There'd been laughter, too. Someone's joke about the way hunger sharpens your sense of smell. You remember the warmth on your shins, the smoke in your hair, the way someone had passed a crust of bread like it was a gift from God. You remember burning your tongue. You miss that pain. The boxcar hits a patch of rough rail, It jolts hard to one side, the crate slamming against your back. You grunt softly and adjust your position. The boy yelps. A sharp breath, then silence. He's awake now. He lifts his head, his face pale in the dim light that leaks through the cracks. His eyes find yours. Neither of you speaks. You shift slightly and slide the tin cup toward him. He doesn't reach for it, just watches it scrape softly across the floor. Then, with a slowness born of ache, he pulls the blanket tighter around his shoulders and tucks his feet up again. He's not angry, just finished. The trees outside have thinned again. You can tell by the rhythm of the wind. Less stutter, more sweep. You press your cheek to the slats, try to see. There's something out there, a shape, wide and still, with faint yellow light shining from the windows. A farmhouse, maybe, or a shed with a lantern left burning. It slips past before you can decide. Gone like everything else. The light leaves a memory on your eyes, a blur that lingers as you blink. The boy shifts again. You hear his stomach growl, loud, embarrassing. But no one reacts. There's nothing to be embarrassed for when the ache is shared. You place your hand over your own belly. It doesn't growl anymore. It's past that. Now it just waits. You reach into your coat, feel for the button. It's there. You grip it tight, wrap your fingers around it until the cold of it becomes your own. You close your eyes and count the clacks of the rail. You stop at 12, or maybe 20. It doesn't matter. There is no plan, no arrival, no name of a place where things are better. There is only the ride, and the next curve, and the next stretch of shadow. The train will stop again. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not. You lean your head back against the crate. The boy breathes. The old man breathes. The wheels sing. And you remain. In motion. In silence. In the dark.